Hello everybody and welcome here if you are new. My name is Nikki. I am 22 weeks pregnant with a baby girl, so I'm going to be sharing the top 10 baby girl names that I love but won't be using for one reason or another, mostly probably because my dear husband shot them down, but that means that you can use them. I listed these names as like vintage or unique, which I feel like is a bit like more our speed, I guess, of names, or my speed of names. I will say my husband tends to like more modern names where I like more classic names, and we both like more unique names, but names that are also kind of recognizable. I wanted to stay out of top 10 names for this video, even though there's a couple top 10 names I liked, but in general, we're really trying to stay away from that this time around because my son did have a top 10 name the year he was born. My son's name is Noah Ridge, so his first name obviously is very popular now, but we went with a much more unique name for his middle name. But the only reason we really went with Noah was because it was a name that we both agreed on. Like I said, I'm currently pregnant with a baby girl and we're like 80% sure we have the name that we think we're gonna use for her. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. I'll start with girl names since I'm having a girl. It's fresh in my mind. I still have my notes to remind me what the names are. But yeah, let's get started. Once again, and you know that it's true. Starting off with girl names I love but won't be using, I have Rosalie. I've always loved the nickname Rosie for a girl. I think it's so timeless but also really cute. And I like Rosalie in particular because I feel like it has, I don't know, just this very elegant feminine feel. I know like nicknames are so big right now, which I love. So you could just do Rosie for a name, or if you want to like mature it up, you could do Rosalie, Rose. But yeah, I feel like Rosalie just has like that old school charm. I think it's really cool. Couldn't get Ian on board, but yeah, Rosalie is number one on this list. Number two is Eden. This was a name that I just thought was so cool. And I don't know, Eden always gave me this kind of like cool girl, like mysterious. I don't know, I just feel like it could fit like a lot of different personality types, which when like you're naming a child, I feel like you don't know what they're gonna be like, so it's kind of like you want something that'll fit whoever they are. And I felt like Eden could be someone who's very shy or someone who's very outspoken. I like that it's kind of like unique and fresh, even though it's obviously a very old name, so it's technically like a vintage name as well. The reason why I couldn't get my husband on board for Eden was because it is also an Old Testament name, just like Noah, and Noah is not named after Noah's Ark. He's named after a character from a book I love. But if we have a Noah and an Eden, it would just feel very like very Old Testament-y, I guess. But yeah, so that's why we didn't end up going with Eden, but still feel like it is a great name. So for number three, I have Mabel. Ian and I actually heard this name when we were watching Only Murders in the Building. If you've seen the show, then you know the character Mabel, and that was the first time I had heard that name, probably in more of like a modern context. And Ian and I both liked it, but at the time our friend who's still pregnant, we thought she might be using a name similar to that, so we steered away from from that name. But it was a name that we really liked, and then we ended up finding the name that I think we'll be using for a baby girl. And you could have May as a nickname, which is super cute, but Mabel was actually a name that Ian seemed to surprisingly like, because he does say I tend to like old lady names, and I guess you could say Mabel is like an old lady name, but old lady names are cool, and don't let anyone tell you different. For number four, I have the name Winter, which I love the name Winnie as a nickname. I think that's so cool. It has kind of a vintage vibe, but it's really sweet as well. Winter is definitely more out there. I love that it's nature inspired. We're big outdoorsy people, so my son's middle name was nature inspired, so we thought it'd be cool to bring that into our daughter's name as well. The reason we didn't end up going with this name was because I didn't love the way it sounded with our last name. Our last name ends with a hard ER as well, and it's 2 syllables. It felt very like It kind of sounded like the same word twice, and I didn't love the flow of that, which, I don't know, the flow of a name, like the whole name, something that was kind of important to me. So for number 5, I have Genevieve. I like Genevieve because you could do Jenna as a nickname, and I really love the name Jenna. But yeah, I love that as a nickname. And then Genevieve, I think it just has such like a charm to it. This wasn't a name I pushed too hard just because I feel like I don't love very long names. I always end up wanting to use a nickname for something, or I like shorter names. So I think a 3-syllable name as a first name felt a bit much to me, but I think it's so beautiful. I feel like it would also be a great middle name. But yeah, it's a good name. Next we have Arden. This is a name that's been on my name list for a very long time. I feel like Arden has kind of like a unisex sound to it. Like it could be a boy's name, but I don't know. So I liked that. It kind of felt a little bit more like edgy as a girl name, but I do tend to like more feminine names specifically for girls. So I think it's kind of funny that Arden is on my list when it doesn't sound quite as like hyper feminine as like Genevieve or something. It's one of those names kind of like Eden where I'm like, oh, I just feel like it's kind of cool. I don't know. It has like a fun kind of sound to it. Yeah, I've never met an Arden before, so I just feel like it's a cool name and I don't hear it a lot. Next we have the name True. Ian really liked this name, again, because he does tend to like more modern names. I knew he would like it, but that's what ultimately ended up making me not love it as much, as just because it was a bit more of like a modern name. I actually first heard this name from a show I watched growing up. It was called True Calling, and I believe she spelled it T-R-U. And yeah, the character's name was True. And again, I'm very inspired by character names from like shows and books and things. And that name always just kind of stuck with me, and I just thought it was really cool. So I do like it, but again, it's like a bit too modern for my taste, and that's why we won't be using it, but still a very cool name. Next I have Ruby. This is a name that I've always thought is really, really neat. I feel like it's well recognized, so it's not, again, like too out there. I don't like names that are too unique that it's kind of like, wait, what's your name? Or it's like constantly spelled wrong or something like that. I feel like it's kind of a headache to have one of those names. But I feel like Ruby, it's like, again, yeah, it's well recognized. It's a name that's like known, but it's not too out there. I feel like Ruby just has a really cool sound to it, but it's kind of a classic name too. And I like Rue as a nickname a lot, so I thought that would be cute. Baby Rue. And now onto a name that Ian said was definitely an old lady name is Edith. My family really likes to suggest very like out there names, and my brother actually suggested this one. I feel like it definitely has like a character name vibe. I like Edie as a nickname too. I couldn't get Ian on board, of course. That was way too old lady for him, but yeah, Edith is cool. Old lady names are in, says me. The last name I have on this list is Arlo. I only heard this, I think, when I first started name research when I was pregnant with Noah, and it was a top contender for us if Noah had been a girl. The reason why I ended up not wanting to use it was because I felt like it was more of a modern name, even though I think it does have older roots. It wasn't a name I had heard before, and I do like names that are a little bit more recognizable. But yeah, I don't actually think it's really technically a modern name. It was just not something I had recognized, and I wanted a more recognizable name. So that's why we didn't end up going with that, but Ian really loved the name Arlo. And I love it too. It's like not the name we would use, but obviously I still love it, and that's why I wanted to include it today. All right, so that is it for my top 10 baby girl names. So if you have any name suggestions that you think I would like based on some of the names I've shared, please share them down below. And also let me know if these are names that you have named your child already, or names you've thought about, names that have been on your list. Hope you enjoyed this video and got some good ideas from it. And I will have my top 10 baby boy name video coming to you soon. So be on the lookout for that. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Wondering how it could go so wrong, but you didn't call for help. Let me tell you.